Camp Nou was never supposed to fail. It was the heartbeat of Barcelona, a football cathedral where legends were born, Messi, Xavi, Ronaldinho, and where over 99,000 fans screamed in unison. But today, that sacred stadium is silent, empty, gutted like a carcass mid-surgery, and bleeding money at a rate that could bankrupt the entire club. This isn't just a renovation, it's a $1.5 billion gamble, one that's already spiralling out of control. Delays, debt, disappearing contractors, and no home for Barca to return to. So what went wrong? And how did one of the richest clubs on earth manage to turn their stadium dream into a financial nightmare? Let's rewind. In 2022, FC Barcelona unveiled the ultimate flex, a complete transformation of Camp Nou into Espai Barça, a futuristic mega project with 360-degree screens, VIP sky boxes, and tech-driven fan experiences. Not just a facelift, a full-blown rebirth. The price tag? $1.5 billion. They promised it would pay for itself. More tickets, more tourists, more sponsors. This wasn't just a stadium, it was an investment. A golden goose wrapped in steel and glass. But here's the catch.
Per mi és un honor i és un plaer poder, com a president del Futbol Club Barcelona, anunciar que hem tancat l'operació de finançament, ho anuncio oficialment. Hem tancat l'oficina de finançament de l'Espai Barça. Penseu que és el projecte institucional més important de la història del club.
Barca didn't actually have the money. They were already drowning in debt. Over $1.3 billion owed, with La Liga breathing down their neck and player salaries eating up most of their revenue. So how did they plan to build the most expensive stadium in Spanish history? Easy, borrow even more. Barca locked in a complex financing deal backed by US investment banks like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, hoping that future stadium revenues would cover today's construction costs. Except those future revenues don't exist yet. And with the old stadium torn down and the team exiled to a temporary field, the costs are piling up while the cash flow bleeds out. What started as a bold vision is starting to look like a financial cliff. Let's talk about what this $1.5 billion renovation actually bought. Because right now, it's not a stadium, it's a skeleton. If you walk past Camp Nou today, you'll see towering cranes frozen mid-air, concrete shells where grandstands used to be, the iconic pitch, replaced by dust, scaffolding, and the faint echo of construction drills, when they're working. The promise was simple: demolish and rebuild during the 2023-24 season, while Barca plays at the Olympic Stadium across town. Then return to a brand new home by November 2024. But here's the problem: they're already behind schedule. Insiders say that materials are delayed, labour shortages are grinding work to a crawl, and the budget? Quietly ballooning beyond the original $1.5 billion mark. And yet, no one at the club seems to be hitting the brakes. Why? Because they can't. Barca is trapped in a financial pressure cooker. Every month this project drags on, the club loses out on tens of millions in revenue, from matchday ticket sales, stadium tours, luxury suites, and sponsors who are now ghosting their logos off half-finished walls. They thought they were building a profit machine. Instead, they're hemorrhaging cash from every angle. But this isn't just a construction problem, it's a brand problem. Camp Nou wasn't just a stadium, it was Barcelona's identity, the soul of the club. You take that away, even temporarily, and fans feel adrift. Now the team is playing at Estadi Olympic Luis Companys, a 55,000-seat stadium with long walks, poor views, and almost zero atmosphere. Attendance is down, revenue is down, even morale is slipping. And the players? Not immune. You go from roaring crowds at the iconic Camp Nou to half-filled bleachers and an echo chamber. It's not the same. Not for the team, not for the fans, not for the brand. This was supposed to be the future of football. Instead, it's starting to feel like a cautionary tale. Meanwhile, the debt clock keeps ticking. Remember those US investment firms, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan? They didn't front billions out of charity. The repayment structure is complex, layered and relentless. Some of the debt is structured like a mortgage, some like a bond. All of it has to be paid, with interest. And every delay tightens the financial noose. Barça is now relying on future revenue projections from a stadium that doesn't exist yet. A what-if economy. It's like taking out a mortgage on a house you haven't built, while also getting evicted from your current home. And crossing your fingers, the rain holds off. It's high-stakes financial Jenga. But here's the scariest part. Even if the construction finishes on time, even if it opens in late 2024 or early 2025, there's no guarantee it will save the club, because the football world has changed. Real Madrid's new Bernabéu is already open, a futuristic dome with retractable roof, concert venue capabilities, and monster partnerships with Apple and FIFA. Other European giants are cashing in on global tours, streaming deals, and investor-backed spin-offs. Meanwhile, Barça is stuck in limbo, unable to capitalise, stuck with a downgraded matchday experience and bleeding sponsorship value. They put everything on the line for a stadium that may arrive too late to fix the damage. So here's the real question. Was Camp Nou's transformation a visionary leap, or a billion-dollar bet made on the edge of a cliff? Right now, no one knows the answer. But if delays continue and the money runs dry before the seats fill again, Camp Nou could go down not as a symbol of glory, but as the stadium that sank FC Barcelona. Barcelona's problems didn't start with bulldozers and blueprints. They started with a tearful press conference. In August 2021, Lionel Messi, arguably the greatest player to ever wear a Barça jersey, stood in front of reporters and broke down in tears. Not because he wanted to leave, but because the club could no longer afford to keep him. Let that sink in. One of the richest football clubs on earth couldn't afford its own legend. And just like that, Messi was gone, Paris-bound, smiling in a PSG jersey. A new chapter for him, but a financial reckoning for Barcelona. You see, Messi wasn't just a player, he was an economy. His presence filled stadiums, sold shirts, drew sponsors, and propped up the entire Barça brand. During the Messi years, matchday revenues soared, global fan bases exploded, and broadcast rights were a goldmine. But it was all built on a dangerous illusion that Messi would never leave, that the magic could last forever. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Without Messi, the spell broke. Ticket sales declined. Sponsorship deals lost their sparkle. The team's performance dipped, which meant fewer Champions League matches and fewer millions in prize money. But here's the twist. Barcelona kept spending like Messi was still here. Massive player wages, risky signings, a ballooning payroll, and then, to top it off, the most expensive stadium renovation in Spanish history. It's like a rock band losing its lead singer, and deciding the solution is to build a bigger concert hall. And here's the thing about nostalgia. It doesn't pay interest. You can't fund a $1.5 billion stadium on old trophies and highlight reels. But Barcelona tried. They sold off chunks of their future, literally. To stay afloat, Barça activated so-called economic levers, selling off parts of their media rights, merchandising, and even production arms. They mortgaged the club's assets for quick cash, just to register players and field a team. It worked temporarily, but the cost, long-term stability. These weren't revenue boosts. They were fire sales. And now, with Messi gone, Camp Nou in ruins, and the financial quicksand rising, even die-hard fans are starting to question, what exactly are we building here? Barça is learning a brutal truth, one that hits every aging empire. Glory isn't renewable energy. You can't power a future on past greatness. You can celebrate it. You can sell commemorative shirts and documentaries. But you can't sustain a billion-dollar operation on memories alone. And yet much of the Espai Barça marketing pitch still hinges on that nostalgic glow. Images of Messi holding trophies, Xavi orchestrating midfield dominance, Iniesta's World Cup winning pass, icons who aren't even playing anymore. It's a stadium sold on yesterday, built with money from tomorrow and paid for with hopes that today doesn't collapse first. What's worse? The pressure to restore glory days has created a toxic loop. Every loss feels heavier, every signing is scrutinised, every delay in construction stings more because it's not just about steel and concrete. It's about a club trying to rebuild its identity without its icon, and without a functioning stadium, without Messi, without the magic. The weight of expectations is starting to crush the brand from within. It's not just a hangover, it's a full-blown withdrawal. While Barcelona wrestled with nostalgia and scaffolding, their greatest rivals made their move. In Madrid, something remarkable happened. Real Madrid quietly tore down the walls of their historic Santiago Bernabéu and rebuilt it into a technological fortress. A $1 billion metamorphosis finished ahead of schedule, on budget, and without exiling the team from home turf. That's right. Unlike Barca, Madrid kept playing through the construction. No relocation, no disruption, no empty bleachers. Just consistent match-day revenue and progress you could actually see. And what did they build? A stadium with a retractable pitch, a concert-ready event system, and corporate VIP experiences that rake in millions per night. It's not just a football venue, it's a 24/7 money-making machine. Apple signed on. FIFA events are circling. Even NFL games are rumoured. Meanwhile, Barca is borrowing money from Wall Street to finish the basement. This is the Bernabéu effect. Not just a new stadium, but a power shift. Real Madrid turned their rebuild into a growth engine. Barcelona turned theirs into a survival plan. And that gap, it's widening. Financially, commercially, symbolically. While Barca fights to keep the lights on, Madrid is already cashing in. And for the first time in decades, the question isn't who's better on the pitch. It's who still owns the future. Estadi Olympic Luis Companies. That's where Barca plays now. It's not a bad stadium. It hosted the 1992 Olympics. It seats over 50,000. It has history. But it's not Camp Nou. And everyone feels it. The sightlines are awkward. The acoustics are dead. Fans are scattered across a concrete bowl with no soul. What once felt like a fortress now feels like a formality. Games without gravity. Attendance is down. Chants echo in half-empty sections. Tourists, less interested. Sponsors, quietly re-evaluating. It's a home game that doesn't feel like home. But here's what hurts the most. This team was built on aura. Camp Nou was more than a venue. It was a character in the Barca mythos. A pressure cooker for opponents. A cathedral for fans. Messi magic under the lights. Iniesta threading passes through packed defences. It meant something. Now, it's like watching Shakespeare in an empty warehouse. And it's not just about vibes. The lost match day income, the drop in merchandising, the erosion of global visibility, it all adds up. Playing away isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive, financially, emotionally, culturally. And the longer this limbo drags on, the more fragile the Barca brand becomes. Because a club is more than its players. It's its rituals, its walls, its thunder. And right now, Barcelona is playing without any of that. Deadlines in football aren't just about match days, they're about money. Barcelona promised the new Camp Nou would be open by late 2024, just in time for the 125th anniversary of the club. A symbolic return, a full circle moment. But behind the sentiment is a brutal financial calendar. Because the entire renovation is financed on future revenue. Stadium tours, corporate boxes, VIP suites, mega sponsorship deals, none of which can be activated until the stadium is finished. So every delay, That's millions in lost income per month. And if the project slips past 2024, the repayment schedule doesn't care. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan still expect their returns. Investors still want cash flow. Sponsors won't wait forever for activation rights. It's like building a hotel with no rooms to book. Even worse, the temporary stadium lease ends soon. The Olympic Stadium was never a long-term solution. It's a rental with a clock ticking above it. If Camp Nou isn't ready in time, Barca faces a terrifying prospect. No home ground, no matchday income, no fan base presence, no events. Just $1 billion shell of steel and cement, and nowhere to play. In business terms, this isn't a delay. It's an existential threat. The cliff isn't far away, and there's no parachute if they miss the landing. This was never just about a stadium. It was about survival disguised as ambition. Barcelona sold the dream of Espai Barça as a new golden age, a tech-savvy, revenue-generating fortress to compete with the biggest clubs in the world. But what they built, or are still building, is something far more fragile. A $1.5 billion structure sitting on borrowed time and borrowed money. The old Camp Nou is already gone, torn down. The heart of the club ripped out with the promise that something stronger would rise in its place. But as of now, all they've built is debt. The lights are dimmer, the seats are fewer, the noise is softer, and the calendar is merciless. If everything goes right, if the stadium finishes on time, on budget, with sponsors lining up and fans pouring back in, maybe, just maybe, Barcelona gets a second act. But if it doesn't, if delays continue, if costs explode, if fans don't return in force, then this won't be remembered as a new era. It'll be remembered as the moment Barcelona traded its soul for scaffolding and lost both. Because this isn't just a renovation, it's a gamble. And the only question left is, did Barcelona build a comeback or dig its own grave?